Okay, welcome back. This is Andy 150. I'm your instructor, Jeff Byers, and this is part 10 of our modeling a sci-fi weapon series. So we're going to keep moving along. We've got most of the parts that we need to for the high poly. Now we're going to work on the handle. So what I want you guys to do is make sure you have all of your pieces. I don't care how you group them or put them in layers, but I've got my front high poly in the front, what I did in the front part for this part right here, and then I've got my back high poly in the back, and we're going to start working on doing the handle now. And this is going to be kind of a different technique we're going to use. We're going to use Quad Draw. I'm going to introduce you to a new tool that's pretty cool. We can actually draw polygons on top of an object that we already have, that we've created. We need to add a little more polygons though to the low poly, so I'm going to go ahead and turn these off. Okay, and I'm going to go into one of my low polys, and I'm going to isolate this, but I'm going to take this out and duplicate this because I want to keep the original. Okay, and I'm going to put it in a layer. So let me put this in a layer. So I'm going to take it out of this layer here. So I'm right clicking over low poly 2, removing selected objects. So you can see other things you can do in here as well. You can delete the layer, empty the layer, but right now I'm just going to remove selected objects. So that's selected. I'm going to remove it. Okay. Click back, click off of it, and click back on it, and then I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm going to highlight this and just call this grip. Okay, and just do 001 in case we do more. Alright, so there's our grip. And I think we need more polygons for this to work the best. We don't have to keep it low poly. This is actually a high poly piece. So let me go back in here, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on low poly off. I spelled that wrong. There we go. And then go back to the top. And that didn't take, so I'm going to type in grip again. There we go. There we go. Alright, so that's good. So now we've got that all set up. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this to a higher poly stage. Let's go into the face mode here, and I'm going to do a Control E. I'm going to scale this in. I'm just hitting the R key. I'm going to scale this on all together. Whoops. Control E. There we go. And I can use the manipulator here. Click on one of the cubes and click the center cube to scale that in. Okay. I can also scale it in this way a little bit. I want to add just basically a little space. Okay. Like an edge loop in here to support the bottom edge loop. Okay. I can pull that in just a little bit more. There we go. And I'm going to click off anywhere. Alright, so I'm going to go to the top, do the same thing. I'm holding down the shift key while I'm selecting. You guys know how to do all that. And then Control E, manipulator. And you can see that we got some kind of weird, whoops, that's because I made a mistake and got one of those. So it's going to go back and select the polygon or the faces on top again. There we go. And make sure I don't have anything else selected. Just kind of rotate around. Do Control E and scale. Okay, there we go. That's much better. Alright, so that looks pretty good. We've got edge loops in here that aren't really following, meaning that we need probably a couple more edge loops. So what I'm going to end up doing is probably smoothing this at once, because that's so super low poly. Games we're really not using. Game engines can handle so much more. So we're going to go ahead and smooth this at 1 and see what we get out of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit the Q key and go to Control D, hold down the Control key and the D key at the same time. Control first and then D. That'll duplicate, and then click on a new layer, and that'll put that one you just duplicated into a layer. Okay, and we're going to call this medium poly. So basically, game engines are taking medium polys now. Okay, go ahead and save that. And we're going to go into Mesh and go into the Smooth. Again, I'm holding down the space bar. Okay, Smooth. And division levels. And again, if you're in modeling at the top here, the main menu bar, everything, just because I'm hitting the space bar, that's how I work, and I've been teaching you guys that. But if some of you are still doing this, you can find Smooth under Mesh. Okay, there's Edit Mesh, Mesh Tools, Mesh Display. Those are the 4 main ones that we're going to be using when we're modeling and stuff. Okay, I just choose to hit the space bar. So if you see that coming up and I'm doing this, that's what's happening. Okay, if you've forgotten, I'm going to do this to 1, subdivision level 1, smooth it, and see how it looks. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to turn off the grip. Okay, you notice that it really kind of caved in on itself quite a bit. Okay, but that's okay, that's good. I like that. That works out really well. And that turned out pretty nice. There's some close areas down here, but this looks pretty good. So it the spacing was pretty good. So we went from this to this. Now we have to kind of go in there, and you notice it made it a little bit smaller, but the nice thing is that it did pretty good job keeping the shape. Okay. All right, and this looks a lot nicer when I actually turn that off. You can see that it looks a lot nicer, even though it is, I consider that still low poly. We're at 320 faces. Okay. All right, and if we wanted to, we've got, let's take a look at what we have here as far as modeling. We've got, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 20 edge loops around, and that's perfectly fine, and that'll give us a nice smooth look, and even close in game. That's nice. That looks good. All right, edge loops are good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to concentrate on adding that detail right here. Okay. All right. So now that we have more polygons we can play with, this piece right here is probably the easiest one we'll probably work on, but we can add polygons on top of this mesh by using Quad Draw. Okay. So, and again with Quad Draw, we're going to do a couple things. I'm going to use, have a little more artistic freedom, because again, this is going to be kind of one of those things we need to just kind of play around with a little bit until we get it just the way we want it. But this tool that I'm going to show you is really, really cool. Okay. Now, you're probably wondering why I don't use the toolbox. That's something that I introduced to you guys earlier in one of the videos for tools. And I don't choose to use this. It doesn't mean that it's not good, and you may want to use it. But I just choose not to use it, and Quad Draw can be found here as well. Okay. You got Target Weld, Multi-Cut, and just watch the video, and I go over some of this stuff for you. But I choose just to hold down the space bar. This is how I work. It's just my preference. You choose however you want to work, but you are welcome to use this. You're welcome to have fun with this and use this in your workflow. That's fine. I choose not to. That's just me. I've got my own way of working, and that's just how I work. So if you see me doing this, instead of going here, you're getting the same thing done. It doesn't matter. Again, I keep telling you, it doesn't matter how you get there, as long as you get there. Okay, so you can use any tool you want. You can use any way to do something. You can do it by the toolbox, or you can do it by finding the tools here. Same thing. Or my preference is this. I still love my marking menu. Okay, that's holding them the shift and the right mouse button. That's how I work. This is just how I work. So how you work, that's something you have to figure out. Okay, what's the best way for you? Find that way and stick with it, and it's just how it is. Okay, so now we're going to go in here and try to add that detail. Okay, so the thing is, I've got to make this live. I'm going to go back, Control A, get out of there, and do it one more time so I can get back in here. So in here, I'm going to go ahead and delete the history. So under modeling shelf, I'm going to delete history, and I'm going to use QuadDraw. Okay, so QuadDraw can also be found under Mesh Tools and QuadDraw. So the thing we got to do is we got to make this a live object. So this is the medium poly. I want to make another medium poly in case I screwed this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do, you guessed it, Control D, duplicate, and then add a layer. Okay, that puts it in the layer. And I'm just going to call this, and let's call it test. There we go. And save it. And we're going to turn the other one off. Now, again, this gets to be a little bit weird. Meaning this is that if you forget that you have an object on top of another object, that can be a problem. Okay, all right. So I need to turn this off. For some reason I've got this on Snap to Curves. But all right. So there we have it. If we have two on top of each other, and you're trying to texture, some of us have figured out that you cannot have two objects occupying the same space. That means the vertices are occupying the same space, and the faces and the edges. You can't do that. The texture will not. It won't show. It's fighting for that texture space. So you have to basically move the duplicate off to the side and make sure you know there's a duplicate, or put it in a layer. Okay. They can't occupy the same space. Alright, so this is the one we're going to work on. There's nothing underneath, and you can tell by just clicking on it. If you marquee select, it'll actually select both of them at the same time, and you'll never know. So just click on it and then move it, and if there's something underneath, you'll know, because it'll be there. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. We need to make this live. You can either click on the horseshoe, this little magnet, and it says make the select object live. What that means is that allows you to paint over an object. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to create this intricate little piece here, this intricate modeling here on top of the object. Okay, we want to keep it all quads too, so we have to be careful how we do this. All right. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. So you can click on Make Live. Okay, all right, you can click it on, and it looks like it did it. Live is disabled. Let's go ahead and turn it on. Come on, why is it disabled? It is disabled for some reason. Okay. All right, so it's on. Yeah, it looks like it's on. So we're good. Hit the 4 key. Yeah, it's live. And then if you want to turn it off, you just turn it off, and now it's back into an object. So let's go back in there, enable it. Okay. There's another way, and we can disable it. So turn it off and on that way. There's another way of doing it. You can go to Modify and then Make Live. There you go. And it's up here again, and you can turn it off again. Okay. So let's make it live. All right. Turn it on. And so from you can paint on the object, okay, with QuadDraw. Okay, so let's go ahead and now get QuadDraw going. So Mesh Tools, QuadDraw. Let's go into the option box and let's reset it and click on. Okay, we're good now. So now it's going to give you this little pointer thing. And you can draw on here quads. Hover over this and hit the shift key. Hover over it. And that one's not really doing very well. There we go. And so you can, and it just follows the topology. Isn't that cool? So it follows the topology of your object. So the reason why I did a media and poly is this allows us a little more freedom to get more intricate for a higher poly object like this. Okay. So when I'm done, I can just click on selection mode, go into select, and select the object. I probably want to go in here and do center pivot up here on the shelf and move it out of the way, and there's our polygon, and it matches the topology of this object here. Now this is still live, right? So I can turn that off, and so this is still an object here. There we go. But this follows that conforms along the vertices and the geometry of the live object, which is really, really cool, very powerful. So that's the tool we're going to use today. So click on the object, and let's go ahead and click live again. And this time we're going to go from the side view, and knowing that I can go in here and just kind of draw what I need, go into quad draw. Again, you can do it in here. Okay, click on quad draw, and you can start drawing. Okay, so in your toolbox. Okay, all right. So however you guys want to work, I like to have my my channel box open. That's why I really don't use the toolbox. But that's just my thing. Mesh tools, quad draw, we're ready to rock. Alright, so let's go ahead and get that set up. There we go. It's finally on. Alright, so let's go ahead, and it doesn't matter where we start. We don't have to start on a point if we don't want to. Okay, so I'm going to start right here. Again, I've got to think of how this geometry is going to play out, right? So I'm just going to kind of follow along here. Okay. You can see I'm just kind of clicking like that. There you go. Alright, cool. So far, so good. And I get that point right there. And I think these two pieces are separate. Okay. Continuing, just kind of thinking how, quadrangles, four-sided polygons. Keep thinking that as you're going up. Okay. I'm going to stop here for a second. See if we can get this thing working now. So hold down the shift key and see and click, and then just move. I've got my shift key held down. Hit click. See how we're doing this? Click, click, click. Okay, now we're getting in trouble maybe. Didn't get exactly what I wanted. Okay, so we got ourselves in trouble here. I messed up already. So I'm going to Control Z back. And let's go Control Z back with these points. So let's not go so far. I thought I had figured it out. Okay, so go in here. We'll do it again. You can see you make mistakes too. So there's that piece. And that piece. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this working. So there's quadrangle, 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 quadrangle. There we go. Now we got it. So don't go too far. There we go. Okay. And let's do that. Let's try this. Hold down the shift key and just click and it kind of draws it out for you. It's pretty cool. And if you want to move a vertex, you sure can. So let's go in there a little bit closer. And if I get close to the vertex, it turns like a red. Look at that. I can just move it. It's so cool. Yep, on the fly. Just kind of make these a little bit more straight. Look at that. Pretty cool. And let's move that up a little farther, like that, to get that shape and form. There we go. We can continue drawing. Okay, so I'm just clicking down points. We're going to make that edge there, right here, and then we're going to click this edge over here like that. Just go up now. We'll get to this point. There we go. There we go. And then hold down the shift key. And there's that one. And this is a problem. So let's go back. Control Z. If I can get this figured out. Okay, so I need a point here and a point here. Hold the shift key down. There it is. And then let's do another point here. Another point here. Hold the shift key down. And another point here and here. Now that looks good. Now we can keep going up here. It's the corners that kind of a problem. Hold the shift key down and then go up, and you'll get faster and faster at this. There we go. So we're getting that detail in there. If you make a mistake, just go in here and correct it. There we go. Just kind of moving points around now a little bit. Again, if you hover over the corner where the vertex should be, you should find that spot pretty easily. It just hovers over and gives you a red little circle. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and go into this one, and that, this, and that, and just move my way up. Okay, so shift, there we go. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty amazed. And they've made some great strides with QuadDraw. Let's take a look at the perspective view. Wow, look at that. That looks great. Getting that nice detail in there. Okay, and let me move some of these points around to get it more. Looks a little bit better. There we go. And continue drawing out with QuadDraw. Alright, let's go ahead and continue. There we go. And this gets where it gets a little tricky here. Not exactly sure what we're gonna do with this, because I think we're gonna stop now. I think we got the big piece in. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a cylinder and see what we can do with that, and then we'll do the rest of this. But that's kind of what I wanted to get done right here. Is that part right there. And then this part over here, okay, I'm going to go ahead and create that piece here. Let's see if we get that. There we go. Just hover over it until it finds the quadrangle it should get. Sometimes it finds it, sometimes it doesn't. And that's the problem with some of this stuff. Oh, had it, kind of. Almost had it. There it is. Let's give it some time. There it is. There it is. Nope. It has a hard time seeing it sometimes. Come on. Nope. I think I missed that one. So let me Control Z back. I hate to do that. If you go too far, that's the problem you face. Let's go ahead and go back into here. There we go. That one. That one. Okay. Oh, I thought I had it. There we go. So let's go ahead and make another one here. Let's go ahead and do that and go up a little farther. I'm just holding the shift key down once I get done drawing them. There we go. And then 2 more up here. There we go. Okay, great. So that's that piece right there. And then we've got some kind of a grip thing going on here, or I don't know, some kind of detail going on there, but we have this part right here. The question I have is, do I want to connect the two from the back? I think it is. I think that's what's happening there. So I'm going to take this one. Now the problem is we can't span too far, okay, across there. So I'm going to add another couple of and hold down the shift key. There we go. And just kind of connect these. I can't tell where I'm at. Let's go ahead and click on the wireframe. There we go. So I clicked on wireframe so I can see where I'm at, but I'm going to go to this point right here. Click on another couple points here. Okay. And go ahead and get those. There we go. So that goes all the way back around. And this may go around in the front too as well. So I could probably just move these over. I don't think that would cause a problem. There's quite a span there though with this one, without a point or an edge. But I think that's good. See how it's kind of caving in right there? That's probably not good. Let's do this. Control Z, move that. Let's move this point over a little bit more, so it kind of follows this a little bit better. Okay. See if that fits a little bit better. Sometimes you have to make little adjustments. Alright. Still think this will be okay. Let's take a look at the side view here. Yeah, I think that's okay. I think that'll work. Alright, so now we're going to add... What happened here? That's kind of strange. Alright, so we're going to go in here and add a couple here. Actually, we can go ahead and add that over here. Okay. Add one right here and here. There we go. Let's add a little bit more interest to this. And I'm going to bring these down. Bring this down. There we go. Okay, cool. So we got some really cool detail now going on with this. Alright, I'm going to hit the F key on this just so I can rotate around properly. I'm going to hit the Q key to get out of the tool. Okay, cool. Now the only thing we've got to do with get into this object is I don't want it live anymore. I don't really want to create a sphere, so I'm going to create a sphere, a basic polygon sphere, and then extrude that out to get that detail. But we're at 29 minutes on this one, so I'm going to extrude this. Let's go ahead and save what we have. You should be saving a lot. I've got over 20. This will be my 25th save. So you should have a lot more than that. So I'm a little risky that way. I can be that way. I'm not getting a grade for this, so you guys can't risk not saving a lot. So be careful. Just because you don't see me saving in a video doesn't mean you shouldn't be saving. So